I'm always looking to add to my Dickens collection, and I'd like to share with you a gem that I've just acquired, one online in live bidding from a New York book auction. It's in a custom-made case and pretty heavy. Opening up, we find not a conventional book, but a stack of wrappered parts with illustrated covers. This is the first edition in 19 monthly parts. The last issue was, as usual for Dickens, a double number, of Dickens's own personal favourite novel, David Copperfield. It appeared in this format between May 1849 and November 1850 and would have cost the original purchasers 20 shillings or £1. If we open up the first part, we can see that for that shilling, the purchaser was getting rather more than just 32 pages of text, which was the standard ration for a monthly part. There's an ad on the inside front wrapper for comfortable bedding from Heels, opposite which is the first page of the Copperfield Advertiser, a full page of ads for books published by John Murray, most of which are related to travel and exploration. Leafing through quickly, there are 32 pages of fascinating ads before we get to the substance of the part. 2 illustrations by Fizz, depicting the young David in church and his first visit to the Peggottys in their upturned boat on the beach. And then, finally, the novel begins. And in the space of 3 chapters, we're taken from David's birth and valuable call to a miserable homecoming when he first encounters his widowed mother's new husband, his awful stepfather, Murdstone. It features some of Dickens's finest writing and is unparalleled in any earlier English fiction in its depiction of childhood through a child's eyes. We'd need to turn to Joyce's Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, published over 60 years later, for a comparable tour de force. The first part was published and printed by Bradbury and Evans in 30,000 copies, but they only bound up 26,000 initially in wrappers like this. Gradually, during the course of the novel's publication, they reduced the print run, and by the end of the serialisation, just 22,000 copies were printed. Most of the original purchasers of the novel in this format would have wanted to preserve it in a more durable form, and would have given the parts to a bookbinder to convert into a more conventional book, like this, discarding the wrappers and adverts, trimming the edges and casing it in cloth or half leather. Of the 22,000 sets of the novel that existed in 1850, I would guess that as many as 20,000 were bound up from the parts, leaving no more than a couple of thousand in this original format way back in 1850. There's no way of knowing how many of those sets would have survived to the present day, but I would suspect that no more than a few hundred remain in this original format. Until I acquired this set, I'd never even seen, let alone handled, any of the parts of Copperfield in the original format, despite having been a Dickens collector for well over 30 years. So, this is a great rarity and one of the most sought after of Dickens's novels in parts. I'd like to share this treasure with you in another way by reading through this fantastic novel together, simulating the experience of David Copperfield's earliest readers. My plan is to produce a short video each week for 19 weeks, introducing each of the parts, looking at some of the advertising material, the illustrations, some pointers to plot, character, themes and style, what else Dickens was doing at the time, and contextualising the novel in relation to contemporary events, inventions and discoveries. The aim will be for us to read a 32-page part each week over about 4.5 months, and you can get involved during live Q&A sessions by posting feedback and comments and engaging in discussion with other readers. I'm going to make this a New Year's resolution project, kicking things off in the first week of January 2022. It'll be completely free of charge and everyone's welcome. Just send me a quick message if you fancy participating and follow my posts on Dickens & Company's Facebook and Twitter feeds, closer to the date. Catch you again soon.